All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel for another edition of You Asked, and I am going to answer. Today we are going to pose the eternal question that will plague us our entire careers, which is, do I suck? Or is it everyone else around me? We could make it a really short video by saying it's you, but I'm not going to do that. But before we get into answering that question, let me remind you, I can only do these videos because of Patreon. If you actually want information that will make you a better cinematographer, as in tips and tricks that you can use on set, and tricks sounds kind of negative. It's not negative. You need these things when you're working on set to be able to get everything that you want to do. This is what I have learned over my career as a cinematographer. I put what works in the Patreon section. I release a new video each and every week. When you get access to Patreon, you get access to the entire back catalog. I appreciate the support. I couldn't do it without you. The link is in the description below. All right, let's get into this week's question. Okay, and this one comes from John Pork, 120-R1E. Hi, Patrick. How much does location/production design impact the final image? Recently, shot a project in a white-walled school without production design, and it looked like crap. Do I just suck? Or if they hired deacons, would it have looked like Blade Runner? This is really just this is really a three-parter, right? Do you suck? Yes. Yes, chances are high. Now, how do I know that without seeing the work? How do I know that you're no good? Because you worked on first of all, you called it a project. If you work on something that has no production design, that's not a project. Okay? That is, I don't know what you would call that, but that is you probably wasting your time. And I don't want to be negative, but this is the reality. What would Roger Deakins have done? He probably wouldn't have been on that quote-unquote project because they would have seen the red flags and gone, wait a second, this is a giant waste of time. And I blame this. Well, I don't blame it on it. I would say that why would this happen? Why would the mantra of shoot everything all the time, everywhere that you can, why would that be negative in some areas of the business? It's because if you don't put any work into the pre-production and into the location scouting process, or just thinking about the final outcome. And when I'm talking about you, I don't just mean the cinematographer. I mean everyone involved in the project, which means finding a good team, which means finding good people, which means good people, right? You know how hard it is to find good people? Geez, you're going to spend your entire life doing that. Okay, so that's a very high bar to set. So if you just shoot everything that comes into your inbox or that somebody asks you about, you're going to be shooting hot garbage 99.9% of the time. Why? Because that is the vast majority of stuff. Like if you don't do any work, the outcome is hot garbage. That is the default, is hot garbage. Like it's very easy to make stuff that's terrible. Okay, what's hard is to make stuff that is good. So what do you have to inject to make things go from horrible, not good at all, complete trash, nobody wants to watch it, it's not good from a technical level, it's not good from a creative level. What you have to do, you have to inject energy into the project, which means resources, which means time, which means creativity, all of those things that are not easy to do. It's like the way that I think about it when in terms of cinematography, which is really hard to verbalize and get people to understand, is that people think because what we can do is we can break down lighting after the fact, or we can look at framing and we can talk about things even on this channel. I mean, that's really all we do is we're analyzing either my work or someone else's work or answering your questions. And when we're doing that, we're not looking at the vast majority of the job. Okay, it's like watching I don't know, if you wanted to be a chef and being a chef, like cooking meals or practicing or the equipment to cook meals, whether it's a stove or a pan or a pot, all of those things, imagine that they're prohibitively expensive and that you need a team of people to cook a meal. Okay, so the way that you would get better and get more repetitions is that you're going to decide to watch cooking shows. All you're going to do is watch cooking shows, and you're going to analyze what the chefs on those shows are doing, and then you're going to say, I can just copy that exact thing, and then I will get better at being a chef. Okay, so then you start to really analyze, like, in this show, when they're making this salsa, they chop the onions in a very specific way. So then you go away for a month and all you do is practice chopping onions a very specific way so that it matches exactly what you see in the cooking show. And the entire time you're thinking, I'm getting better as a chef. No, you're getting better at chopping onions, which that's less than 1% of the job. The whole other part of the job is the job that you don't see, the part that you don't see. Like being a chef has nothing to do. I mean, it might have little to do with chopping onions, but that's not what you should be focusing on. But why do you focus on that? Because it's something you can see and then you can measure and then you can go, aha, I am getting better at chopping these onions, but you're still a terrible chef. And even if you memorize the recipe exactly as you see it, if you step into a kitchen and they don't have that ingredient or someone wants a different meal, you're going to be in a world of hurt. So do you suck? I would say you suck because you said yes to this thing and then you didn't inject any work. Like, okay, imagine a situation where Roger Deakins was on this project and they said, Raj, we want you on this thing. We're not going to do any production design and the location's going to be terrible. What do you think he would say? He would say like, no, I'm happy to do the job, of course, but I'm going to help by sharing my expertise with you going, we shouldn't waste any time or energy on this project unless we inject some time and energy into finding a better location or production design. Because you can only take a picture, Roger can only take a picture of what is there in real life, right? He is not a visual effects artist. It has to be there to take a photo of it. Now he can maximize how good it looks or the best way to cover it or the best angles to choose or the best sequence or the rhythm or the shot sizes. All of those things are areas of expertise. But in the pre-production process, he's there to inform everyone else around him all of the time as early as possible in the process so that they can change if they are heading off course. He's there to go, hey, in my experience and from what I know, all the things that we are doing now are setting us up for failure in the future when we actually get there on set on the day. And if we're going to fail on the day, it's going to turn out to be a crap project. Do we want to proceed knowing that it's going to end up being a crap project? If not, let's alter our course. Okay, so that's what you're doing. So your job now, even if you're working with space cadets, which chances are you are working with absolute space cadets, right? Why? Because that's the overwhelming probability is space cadets. How many good directors are there? There's not that many. How many good grips and how many good gaffers and focus pullers and all of these things, they're very rare. That's why when you find them, you hold on to them and you're nice to them and you're polite and you get them jobs and you try and communicate as easily and as effectively as possible because that makes you look better ultimately in the end. You're doing all of these things because the default is absolute space cadets. So does that mean you don't work when you're working with space? No. You still do the job. And what is your job with the space cadet is to help them, is to say, hey, have we got production design on the job that's coming up next week? And they go, no, we don't. And you go, I think it's a good idea if we do have that. And they go, really? And you go, yes. And they go, why? And you go, well, if we just show up, it's going to be a white-walled thing and you want it to look like Blade Runner. Blade Runner is not a white-walled thing. And however much energy you want to invest in convincing this person, that's the balancing act that you're constantly playing. You're saying, is it worth my time to educate this person that their taste is dog shit? Or do I just accept it, shoot the white-walled room and move on? That's a personal choice. It's up to you. Are you getting paid for this? Are you hoping that you're going to use this as a springboard in your career to be able to show people this is what you can do? Are you not good? Right? Like this is, again, we have to come back to that original part of the question. Do you suck? It depends on how bad you suck, whether or not you can pull value from shooting something in a white-walled space that isn't supposed to be in a white-walled space. You know, like you can try and practice creating contrast and all of those things. Maybe it is worth your time, but shoot everything all of the time. That sort of mantra where it leads you astray is thinking that, I need to chop more onions, right? I got to get really good at creating little tiny squares of onions. It's like, no, that's not it. You don't, if you want to be an expert onion chopper and chopping onions really good, that can be beneficial. If you are a chef, of course, you'd rather have nice onions than sloppy onions, I guess. But does it matter if you're making, I don't know, I've taken this analogy too far, some sort of fucking casserole or something? I don't know. Probably not, okay? So you got to focus on what is actually going to move the needle to make the project halfway decent. You are a guide. You are like a Sherpa taking a director up Mount Film, okay? And once you get to the top of Mount Film, if you do, then you have to guide them down as well. It's not just up, it's also down. And we have covered more analogies in this particular video than I could have possibly imagined. But do your homework with prep because you can only shoot what's actually there on the day. And if you know if things are going downhill, you've got a few choices. You can educate, you can ignore, you can move on, you can dig your heels in and say, I'm not going to do it unless you do these things. There's lots of different options that you can take. But I would say no cinematographer can make things that aren't there look better. just off of technique or off of some lighting trick or the framework or some, the Badvo blocking system is not going to help you if you don't get those things that are upstream of that ticked off and looking halfway decent. Okay? So I hope that helps. Maybe it doesn't. But I'm done. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. Many thanks. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.